Oh, good afternoon, everybody. I can see folks finding me after a slightly different time playing today. So you've got some hymns. They've all got a bit of a harvest feel about them. Some of the ones that we don't normally sing. So I thought I'd do some of those today. 329 is quite a long hymn, so I'm not going to do all of it. I think I'm going to do verse 1, verse 2, verse 3 and verse 4 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 7. All creatures of our God and King. those of you that have watched TMC this morning will know that we got the organ back and sorted, and it does seem to be, well, it was working fine this morning, and it's not to say it's not been without. It's been an interesting job getting it back right. Very fortunate that I told you last Sunday, Giles is an electrician. We came to church and we took the motor apart. A motor which was installed by HTP back in 1932. So it is an old piece of kit, and the engineering is actually really quite simple and quite straightforward. So we took it to an engineer, David Hawkey at Crantock, who has worked on it before, and we're unsure as to why we've had trouble again. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but anyway. So he's worked away at it this week, and it's I think he said it sort of fought him to get it absolutely right, but David's a very, very skilled machinist. So I went and collected it on Thursday and took it back to church and started to get it back together, and 7 of the 8 bolts went in fine. The 8th one decided it was not going to play ball, and unfortunately managed to snap it off, which was a bit unfortunate. Anyway, Giles to the rescue. He managed to get the broken bit out, and we took the broken bits to David, and he supplied a new bolt which I put back in yesterday carefully, and all up and running. So it's back on form. So it's been an interesting week. I've made 3 trips to Crantock, but there we are. So our next hymn, well, we've done All Things Bright and Beautiful once already, I know, but just in case that there are fans of the Royal Oak tune, which actually is quite a jolly little tune. Once again, it's an English traditional melody arranged by Martin Shaw, and it's associated with a loyalist song entitled The 29th of May, celebrating the restoration of Charles II on the 29th of May 1660. That was an interesting restoration of the monarchy. Interesting time for music there. Charles II sent a guy called Pelham Humphrey, I think, to France, and so on. Anyway, that's sort of digress. The name of the tune, Royal Oak, refers to the tree at Boscobel, Shropshire, in which Charles II is supposed to have hidden during his flight after the Battle of Worcester in 1651. Well, I had no idea. So that's where the name of the tune came from, Royal Oak, because it was a tree in which Charles II is supposed to have hidden during his flight after the Battle of Worcester in 1651. Well, there we go. You learn something new every day. rather a jolly little tune, that, isn't it? And some of you may remember I posed the question that I didn't know many other tunes that started like Heathland's did. Where it starts on that chord and it doesn't start with the root of the chord at the bottom. And this is another hymn that does that. It doesn't start with the root of the chord, but anyway, it's no matter. But it just crossed my mind that it was something that I said about and thought I couldn't think of another tune that started like that. And there it is, 336. Now, of course, wonderful words to this tune. Wonderful words and a wonderful tune written by our dearly loved Hubert Julian. This tune, and this is Hubert's book. Now, it says it's having trouble playing. No, it's not. I don't know. My computer's telling me funny things. Anyway, let's ignore it. So from Hubert's book, The Companion to Hymns and Psalms. So Hubert originally wrote the tune Pole Wheel, and Pole Wheel is further along up the hill from Kenwyn, where no, it's not up from Kenwyn. What I'm talking about, it's going towards Trisban, towards the crematorium. Pole Wheel, the estate up there where was for some considerable length of time the boys of the cathedral school choir had their lessons. It was their school. So the tune is called Pole Wheel. Hubert wrote this for Fred Pratt Green's hymn How Good It Is When We Agree, celebrating 50 years of Methodist Union, 1932 to 1982. First sung at a public meeting commemorating this occasion at the Methodist Conference in Plymouth in 1982. Well, that's something I hadn't realised, because I played at the conference service in 1982, when the Celtic Chorale, which became Celtic Voices, was formed by Hubert. And we put together a choir from Devon and Cornwall, and the Cornish contingent stayed on, and then we became actually Celtic Chorale. I hadn't realised that this was the first time that this hymn was used in public. Composer, a Cornish Methodist, gave the tune a Cornish name. Pole means pool, and wheel means on top of. So pool on top of. In addition, his daughter taught at a school in a house called Pole Wheel, standing on the site of the ancient Pole Wheel Castle near Truro. So we're learning all about it this afternoon. I didn't know that there was Pole Wheel Castle. Answers on a postcard, please, if you knew that it was that there was a castle at Pole Wheel. How entertaining! How interesting! How wonderful this world of thine, a fragment of a fiery sun, to Hubert's wonderful tune, Pole Wheel. isn't that a great tune? Wonderful, colourful harmony. Hubert was a master at getting the most out of pieces of music. He really was, and one of a kind, I think. And those words too: the smallest seed in secret grows, thrusting upward, and assume the bidding of the light. Just recently, I've been, or not recently, but the next door neighbour's chickens, or let's just change the camera, it never ceased to amaze me, really. I mean, they're not the most intelligent of animals, but I do think that, I mean, they display wonderful attributes that they hear very well. I've only got to go out to the door and shout, and they will, as soon as they hear me, they'll come running because they know there's something to eat. I suppose it's an instinct and all the rest of it, but their hearing must be pretty good, and they know that they hear my voice, there could be some food, or if they see me, they know there could be some food, and they're great hoovers if they come in the kitchen and the cats have made, got their food all over the place, so they tend to, I don't know if you've got a cat, you may notice sometimes they pick the food up off the plate and then decide to eat it on the floor, and there's all those bits that get left, but the chicken don't miss anything. They'll come in and have it. Anyway, I digress, but it's interesting to watch them. Most people, chicken is a food commodity off the shelf, but to see them having a dust bath and all those sorts of things, it's really quite entertaining. My neighbour David and I, we've both commented that we've used and wasted quite a lot of time just watching the chickens, but it's quite therapeutic. Anyway, on to 337. Do you remember the story I told you of how I played this at St Ives, and the boys in the and the choirs encouraged me to give it some, and so I did get a bit carried away. I'll give you a quick sort of demonstration of what happened when you go into verse 3. I'll play the end of verse 2, and I'll go into verse 3, and you can see why my music teacher Henry Doughty had a word with me a bit later on about using the organ. So I did something like this. For peaceful homes. And I inadvertently added the loudest stop on the organ. We call it the tuba, much to and it's that kind of stop which hits you in the back of the neck. And Henry did say that we playing the organs a bit of a shop window. You don't show everything all at once, as it were, put everything on display at once, and I was completely inappropriate for peaceful homes, and there I am thundering away with the tuba. Anyway, a boyhood memory. Anyway, on with the hymn. O Lord of heaven and earth and sea. I also seem to remember a little sort of rhythmic anomaly at the end of that hymn as well. But that's how it should be. Well, at least that seems to be what's written in the book, and I think I played what was in the book. 342, for the fruits of his creation, thanks be to God. Just before I do that, well, I was thinking about that we've had a few birthdays and things. I haven't checked today to see whose birthday it is on Facebook. I can actually do that from here now. Anyway, because I will make up some, do some birthdays, but I was thinking this week, my colleague from Redruth School, who I worked with for a good 18 years, Roger Wills, he had his birthday this week. Roger's not enjoyed the best of health recently. A very, very fine musician. I count myself fortunate to have worked alongside him for 18 years, and to see what he could do, and his talent and his knowledge and all those sorts of things. Very good he would get the best out of any ensemble he was working with. So I count it, I don't think I'll ever work with anybody as well. 18 years to work alongside Roger Wills. I've told you the stories, I think, probably at times when we'd put a couple of classes together when we do our Rowitz and Lander act playing the piano. Roger could play anything by ear, and you just ask him, can you play such and such? Oh yeah, what note would you like me to start on? Very good ear, very good oral skills. And we'll be playing something, I'd be playing along, sneaking a look at what Roger was doing, because my oral skills are nothing like as good as his, and then he would stop on purpose and let me keep going until things foundered, and he picked up and we carried on again. Great time. So it was Roger's birthday this week, and the composer of the tune East Acklam, Francis Jackson, was born in 1917, and he has recently celebrated his 104th birthday. And Francis Jackson was the organist of York Minster. There's a famous recording of him playing the Cocker tuba tune, which has become a legendary recording, and he's still alive, has been able to see the newly restored York Minster organ. So here is Francis Jackson's tune East Acklam. I will play the whole tune over because it probably won't be that well known. But it makes a nice contrast to Fred Pratt Green's words, and we can always sing our Hedonos to another hymn. several thoughts that went through my mind there. First thing being that if you're going to solo a tune out, then make sure you actually have put the necessary stops on to solo it out. Doing strange things today. Never mind. Now this is interesting. Just looking at this in Hubert's book. These words, "for the fruits of his creation," were written for Francis Jackson tune East Acklam. There we are. First printed in the Methodist Recorder in August 1970. So, Francis Jackson composed the tune in 1957, the year before I was born. And also the composer has written a choral prelude for organ based upon it, and the name East Acklam is that of a village about 7 miles south of Malton, North Yorkshire, where the composer lives. So he's and I can remember talking to you about this hymn before as well, that rising line at the end there, coming up to the important words, especially in that last line, "most of all that love has found us." Love is right at the top of the phrase. There we are. So moving swiftly on to our last hymn, 344. God Whose Farm is All Creation, by, of course, the words by John Arlott, who's famous in the world of cricket, and the tune Shipston. Once again, it's an English traditional melody, so we've had several traditional melodies today, collected by Lucy Broadwood. One of Lucy had anything to do with the piano company of that name. Something to look for another day, and harmonised and arranged by Ralph Vaughan Williams. God Whose Farm is All Creation. I've said before, it's interesting to reflect on these words, isn't it, from time to time. That second verse in particular, and I expect that we'll probably all a bit the same. Where's the second word gone? Take out ploughing, seeding, reaping. I don't do any ploughing, but I certainly do the digging and prepare the ground and seeding, reaping. And then the hopes and fears of sun and rain. You know, are we going to have the sun? Are we going to have the rain when we like it? And so on and so forth. And then, of course, you know, sometimes it's okay, and then other times it's not. So I'm going to play for you now. I'm going to play, I was going to say it's Paul's latest piece, but it's not actually. So I'm going to start on that, then that. Okay. Paul Fay, concentrate here, is a piece which I think came out, might have been a fortnight ago, a postlude based on All People That on Earth to Dwell, and I got hold of a copy, and here it is. The tune you will hear in the pedal played on the pedal reeds. All People That on Earth to Dwell, care of Paul Fay, the young German composer. Jolly piece that is. I don't think I quite did Paul justice there, but I shall be playing it at TMC at some stage or other. I don't know if you're aware, but the organ, I'm not sure it's quite liking me playing quite so loud today. I don't know why, but never mind. Anyway, I'll sign off now, and I am thinking I might be able to stream the service from TMC. I'll see how it goes. I won't promise anything. We have Graham Thompson tonight with us, a United service of the Truro circuit and the St Agnes Perranporth Newquay circuit, so we're
hoping to join up in the future. We're working towards it. Our internet wasn't good at church this morning, but I won't promise anything. If I can, I will, and I'm afraid it will just be a static angle of probably me playing the organ. Anyway, I'll be back next Sunday evening, same time. I'm proposing to do it from the same place, but you never know. Anyway, God bless. Bye bye for now.